All right, welcome back. Brace the Hammer, episode something. We're not really sure. I think we're at 7. Crazy week, amazing predictions. Shorja, you were so close, my man. Charlie, you were mediocre as usual. And Tommy, who's not here with us today, he was actually at the West Ham Man U debacle at Old Trafford, so he's still recovering from that. We do have 2 new guests with us today. We have Brian from the Short Fuse. Say hi, Brian.
Oh, hey, sorry, I'm getting some lag over here, but I'm Brian. Thanks for having me on, guys.
No worries. I'll edit that out. It's cool. And we also have Andy from Brace the Hammer.
Hey,
my man,
up?
he writes your previews.
Yeah.
He loves it. So yeah, this week was a little crazy. I'm not sure if it has to do with a lot of predictable wins, things that were easily seen, but I came away with an 8-2 record on my picks, and Shorja real close with 6-2. Charlie, you were even at 4-4, and Tommy was 4-3. So once again, Charlie, you were in the back of the pack. You want to give us a speech? Go for it.
Whoa. What's this all this once again, bro? We're moving up. I started last, then I moved up. 4's the most I've ever gotten. So I'm just continuing to go up. You need to jam those hypes, mate, because I am on the comeback and coming for you. Ooh, I got an 8. Leave it out, mate. Trust me, it's happening. It's happening slowly, but it's happening.
All right, I'll believe you. I'll look forward to it next week. We have a few games to get into, so let's just dive right in. We're at the Etihad for Chelsea and Man City. Chelsea coming off spanking, and City coming off a victory as well. It's going to be a tough game, I think, for both teams. And I said this earlier when we weren't on air, but it just feels like one of those games where every year Man City has that blowout where they just lose and get embarrassed and people start questioning. And I feel like this could be the week, especially at home. It's usually happened. Shorja, you disagreed with me. Go ahead. What do you think?
Yeah, I think that the collapse comes a little bit later, like near the Christmas period, because all the expectations kind of get to them. And I think it's weird this year because it kind of got to them earlier because they had that string of, 6 consecutive, I don't know, they were winless in 6. And I remember that was like Pep's record, and what Pep's like losing, that like shattered Pep's losing record, and everything was like crisis and all that. But it sort of turned around for them. Sergio Aguero's come on, and he's just been saving their butts these past couple of weeks, with or without goals, just hold up play in general. He's one hell of a player, so as long as you have that guy on your team, I think you're good.
All right, well said. I think they kind of dominated the Spurs game, even though the scoreline didn't really show it. It was just 2-1. Felt like it could have been a lot more if it wasn't for Lloris and some of his heroics. City, while they've been winning the games they should be winning. They don't really have any crazy victories. They beat Burnley 2-1. Burnley made a game out of it. They beat Palace 2-1, who they've been kind of struggling to find in the back of the net. They drew with Middlesbrough, and Southampton they drew with. So they're kind of shaky, and Chelsea just coming in really strong. I don't know. I really don't know what to think about. I think this will be one of the most interesting matches of the weekend. Andy, Brian, other one.
Yeah, I think it'll be an interesting matchup. I pick Chelsea personally going into it. It's coming pretty close to Christmas time. As Short just said, it usually is the downfalls there. But Chelsea, you got Hazard, who's at revitalized form this year compared to last year. Costa's always good. It might be draw, but I think Chelsea kind of has the edge in it. Should come through.
All right, give us a score. What do you think?
2-1. It'll be close, but Chelsea pulls out.
Chelsea 2-1. All right. George, I don't think you gave us a score before. What do you think?
No, I think it's going to be a draw, honestly, because I think Chelsea will come out flying, but then Man City will rely on their stars. And speaking of revitalized, Yaya Toure, I think that those guys are really going to pull up their drawstrings and then pull their pants up, and
I think Yaya Toure is going to make the difference for sure. I got City winning this one actually. Although kind of the stats don't really say it, like you mentioned, City winning 2-1 in the past 2 games against 2 sides that weren't doing too well, and Chelsea on a good run of form. But and Yaya Toure have a couple of goals in them. I got City 2-1.
All right, I kind of I'm gonna go out on a limb here, and I'm gonna say I agree with Brian. I'm dominated by
Hey.
Arsenal fans today, but that's okay. I'm going with you. I also think it's going to be a good game. I think they're at the Etihad, and as much as I feel like this is going to be like one of those collapses, and I might be regretting it next week, I think City pull this out. And the streak's got to end at some point for Conte, right? I mean, he's going on 6 or 7 consecutive wins, and I don't think that's happened since Jose did that with Chelsea. So I don't know if that's going to be repeated, but I think it doesn't. I think it ends here. I'm going to go 2-1 as well. Charlie.
Yeah, you say you're surrounded
I think it's
by.
going to be great.
You say you're surrounded by Arsenal fans. I've lost my fellow English cohort, so I'm now completely surrounded. Yeah, I kind of actually agree. I wasn't expecting this, but Chelsea have been smashing it recently, but Man City have been pretty consistent throughout the entire season, and even when they have struggled, they've still managed to grind out a win. And that's like, it's one of those things people always say, oh, if you're grinding out wins, then you're a good team, sort of thing. But it shows. I mean, they're not that far behind them in the league at all. Like, points wise, it's not, and so it's going to be a lot closer than perhaps form would suggest. And like you say, I think being at the Etihad is going to be the difference. I think, when you've got a man called Sergio Aguero up front, there's probably usually going to be goals. So I'm actually going to say 3-2 to Manchester City.
Ooh, not 6-5 or 7-6. We've seen some crazy scores. So
No. It's going to be 3-2. Wait till we get to the Swansea prediction.
That's Swansea game.
that was a crazy match.
Great game.
With that, we're switching over to Vitality Stadium, where Bournemouth and Liverpool are going to be clashing it out. Bournemouth coming, of course, off their 3-1. I don't want to say embarrassment because it is against Arsenal loss, and of course Liverpool coming off a 2-0 win against Sunderland. Charlie, like you were saying, good teams beat the teams they should beat. Is this one of those situations for Liverpool? I mean, they're clearly the better, more talented side. Is there a way Bournemouth squeaks out a draw here at home, or even a win? They're crafty, they're sprightly. Charlie, we'll start with you.
The sort of tiny little Bournemouth fan inside me want them to be able to do it, but I can't see it happening. I rate Jurgen Klopp and Liverpool way too much for that to be the case. I think Bournemouth they're a team I like because they came up and they played the right way. They played attacking football. They passed it. They didn't change too much. They stuck to what they believed in and didn't grind it out like some people would when they jumped to the Premiership. But I think, unfortunately, that's probably might be their downfall this week. I think that Liverpool are just way too good going forward to not beat them, unfortunately. And I'm going to go with 3-1 to Liverpool.
Wow, 3-1. Yeah, no, you're right. And you know what, the safe bet for all of us all year has been Liverpool winning. So we'll probably continue that trend for most of us. George, I'm going to go to you.
Yeah, makes sense because my team played them last week.
Right.
I think that they played really well last week. For 45 minutes we were dominated. I think they had the upper hand in the first half, but somehow, I don't know how we did it, but like that second goal from Walcott really like calmed the nerves, and then in the 90th minute we killed off the game. So still pretty nervy. I rate that side. I think that I still can't speak for whether that was a penalty or not because I don't know the handballing rules that well. In my opinion,
I think as long as it's up to the ref, and as long as there's a concerted effort to get your hands out of the way, it should be fine.
Yeah. So, and I think he did that. Some Bournemouth fans will disagree, but I think the penalty call was actually a little bit more ridiculous than the handball. Like I would have seen the handball being called over the penalty if I didn't know what the result was. If that makes sense. So, and I also think that Coutinho not being there is a big thing, especially with the Christmas period coming up. I don't know how well conditioned the subs are. I mean, Lallana can come on. I don't know. Lallana hasn't been starting. I don't think he's been coming off the bench usually. So they're missing a key part of their offense. Daniel Sturridge might slot in. John, I think you mentioned earlier that poses some trouble for West Ham, who were
absolutely does.
Targeting him, in January. So if he comes in and he's important, which I mean he will be in the absence of Coutinho, he will be important. He'll be he's like the next guy up. He's like their sixth man, if you will, or 12th man, whatever you call it. So yeah, I don't see Liverpool running away with it, especially because it's such a system. Like Klopp has a system. If you take one part out, I don't know how well they're going to thrive. We're going to see, but I'm not going to call it a blowout. Like it's going to be. Their form is going to dip a little bit. I still think they're going to grind out most of their wins, but I'm going to say this is a close contest, just because it took Liverpool like 74 minutes to get a goal against Sunderland, and it was from Origi, and I don't like that was a great goal, but if something like that hadn't happened, it was almost like a freak of. I thought it was kind of like a freak of nature. It wasn't like a well worked goal. He made some moves at the edge of the box, but I don't think it was like they didn't deserve that goal.
Well, he's a pretty talented
he is
talented kid. I mean, he's probably not even a kid anymore. He's probably like 23 or 24. But
I think it's my
score. What do you think?
I'm gonna say 2-1 Liverpool. I still see them winning, but I think it's gonna be late, and I think it's gonna be decided by. I think it's gonna be decided by a late goal. Basically, I think Bournemouth are gonna be in it for the most part, and then Liverpool Liverpool somehow gets a goal and wins.
All right, Andy. Before I go to you, I just want to drop this quick stat. Liverpool hasn't lost to Bournemouth since 1927. So, with that, go ahead. What do you got?
I think Jurgen Klopp knows how big this match is. I think two of you guys picked Man City over Chelsea, and this would be a perfect opportunity for Liverpool to go top of the table with a good victory here. 2-0 Liverpool for me. Yeah, they'll struggle without Coutinho. Adam Lallana, I rate him pretty highly. I think he can get the job done in his place. And it's not going to be, especially these next few months without Coutinho, they're not going to be the easiest, but especially for this match against a struggling Bournemouth team, it's going to be 2-0.
All right. Brian, what do you think?
I got to go with Liverpool as well, but I think it's going to be a close game, just like George was saying. Because I always see Bournemouth as that team that somehow manages to squeak out a draw with the top 5 teams, and then like a couple of weeks ago they tied Tottenham 0-0, and then went on to lose to Sunderland. And I don't see them doing too well in this game, but I see them getting at least a goal. And I don't want to be the guy that says 2-1 to every game, but I got to go 2-1 Liverpool here.
Yeah, I don't blame you. That's pretty close for. Yeah, 2-1. And I originally was going to copy you, but everybody else said 2-0 or 2-1. You know what? I'm not the king of picks for no reason, and I like to hedge my bets. Charlie, don't you shake your head at me.
You can't stop calling yourself the king of picks.
Well,
You've won like some amount of weeks. We are not 100% sure how many, and then all of a sudden you're the king.
Yeah. It says in my title, Brace the Hammer, managing editor, king of picks. I think that's how it goes.
Yeah, all you do is copy anyway. So
yeah, I'm copying someone. So I'm actually going to take the bet. I'm not saying they're going to win, but they're at home. So why not? Why can't we get a draw? Everybody thinks they're going to make it close and put up a fight. This team does fight. They really do have a lot of fight with them. They don't care who they're playing. They if you press them, they'll press back. I think this is a good opportunity for them to pull out a squeaker. And I'm going to go with 1-1 as my prediction.
Can I say that last week they played really well without Jack Wilshere, who is probably one of the more talented guys, or not more talented, but more hyped people, like more like one
he's
of the
probably the most talented person in their midfield. You could say that.
You can say that. Yeah. Yeah, they played really well without him. So I think it'll be kind of interesting to see what Eddie Howe does. Does he play him? Does he not play him? Because he is one of their bigger players. I'd say Jordan Ives up there, along with him.
What about Callum Wilson? He's been linked with West Ham this past week, though. Given their current state, who knows what's happening with West Ham?
Callum Wilson's great. I think last year it was really sad to see him go down for the season. He suffered a really bad injury. But otherwise, I think he could have really made his mark on the league last year. Maybe that injury might have been the reason he stayed at Bournemouth. Who knows? That's kind of a hot take. But if he performed well, I think one of the not bigger clubs, but one of the longer one of the clubs that have been in the Premier League longer may have come in and picked him up. Like say West Ham, who knows?
Yeah.
And then one thing, sorry, John, just before you move on, specifically about West Ham linked strikers with Daniel Sturridge, this period without Coutinho is huge for him. This is basically make or break time for him. If he comes in this week and proves himself, then he can stick in that Klopp side. If he comes in and flops, then Klopp just goes, he really just does not fit this system. What am I going to do with him? With Coutinho out for however long he's going to be out, it could force them to go, maybe we should sell him in January and then getting a replacement that will work 100% in that system, which could benefit us hugely. So that's this is a huge period for Daniel Sturridge and the rest of his career, really.
Yeah, as soon as I saw Coutinho go down, the first thing I thought of was, well, that's real bad news for West Ham fans. Love it, Brian, by the way. Nice switch.
Thanks. Get in the spirit.
Atta boy. With that, speaking of spirit, we're going to go to Goodison Park, where a very struggling Everton will host Manchester United, who hasn't been in their best of form until recently against West Ham. They lost to Southampton. They drew with Swansea of all teams, and then they got absolutely dominated by Chelsea 5-0. I want to root for Everton. They have good players. They have a good coach. I don't know what the problem is with them. I couldn't even begin to explain what's going on that team. I would take every single one of those players. If I was running a club, Lukaku is amazing. McCarthy, everybody. Why are they so bad? What's happening? Can someone please explain why Everton is terrible?
Enter Valencia is there. It's the curse.
It's the curse. It's the curse of Valencia.
Yeah.
That's it. That's all we got. Why Everton is bad? Everybody's saying the curse of Valencia. Charlie, I'm going to put you on the spot. Go ahead. What do you got?
Andy hit it on the head. It's Enter Valencia, isn't it? Brian, do you know? You sound like you were about to say something. I won't go on if you have an idea.
I was just going to mention that they lost John Stones, who, he was kind of like an actual solid performer, and he wasn't there for too long. But it may have caused a hit there.
Yeah, it's a weird one. You think with a manager as good as Ronald Koeman, they'd be able to just be as good as Southampton were. And any team he's managed before. It's a weird one. I think that we might be just seeing a similar effect to what is at West Ham, where everyone just stops performing at once, and it's this weird thing where it just happens, and then they sort of drop out of this team group form, and then they just lower all of their standards. And whereas with us, I think it's just dropped us to the bottom. I think with them, it's sort of leveled them out. You could make the argument maybe they've been playing out their skin before that. I don't really believe that. I think it's really just one of those freak things. Koeman has said some weird things in the press over the last couple of months, which were a bit odd. Like he called out Ross Barkley, he called out a couple of people. Maybe there's something deeper going on there that I'm not sure about. But I think, to be honest, it's just one of those group form things where once it clicks again, they'll just go straight back up again. As you said, I'd take basically every single one of those players.
They are good. They have this between Cleverly. Even Morales, who I know he's kind of dropped a little bit out of favor, but he's still a great player. He still plays for the Belgian team, which is full of international stars. Ross Barkley, like you said. Lukaku. What's up?
Gerard Deulofeu.
There you go. And Leighton Baines, who's probably going to go down as one of the better left backs. So I don't really have an answer. I don't know what's happening, but I know they can't beat Man United right now. That's what I'm sure of. So yeah. If I had to put a guess, I'm going to say the way Man U looked on Wednesday, if we get that team again against Everton, forget about it. I think it's 3-1 Manchester United.
Jordan. Yeah. I'll go on. George first.
Oh, yeah. You stole my pick. I was going to say 3-1 Man U as well. I just if I had to dig a little deeper, of course, I'm completely speaking from these are just theories that I'm just pulling out from nowhere. I just don't think that this is Ronald Koeman's team yet. I don't know if there is something going on behind the scenes. I think that is what it is, because he hasn't. They started the season really well. They were third for a little bit. They were in the top 4 for a little bit, and then it sort of went downhill, and he hasn't picked it back up. and I think that's just because like it just isn't his team, because they aren't, putting in the effort to rally behind them. They're not like, okay, we're doing bad, we need to play for our manager. I just don't think that there's any backing from the players. There's no other reason why every player would, just quit performing. And I hate to tie this back to West Ham, so I won't, but I will tie it back to Chelsea from last year. How everyone just stopped, I don't know, they just stopped working. There's bad blood between the players and the manager. And I do, like, I like Koeman. I think he's great, but there's some sort of, like, ego warfare going on over there, because they have some big names. They do. Ashley Williams is a big name. Is he the captain of the Welsh team?
Yeah, I think so.
He's the captain. All right. Well,
if he's not then he's at least one of them.
He's one of the captains, yeah. And then like obviously Lukaku, Deulofeu is like a Barcelona product, so he probably has some sort of like chip on his shoulder. Just these are some big personalities that you have to maintain, and it's not like the biggest of clubs, so I don't think Koeman went in with that mentality. So maybe there's some sort of like mismatch in expectations. So that's just my theory.
Let me segue to Brian with a question. Is Ross Barkley overrated?
Well, I think a lot of people that are Everton fans just think that all the players that aren't performing right now is going to solve everything, and bringing on these young guys who have never seen the field. And I don't know. I'm not sure how to answer that question because I haven't really been following that recently, but I'm sure.
I think we're losing Brian.
Yeah, I was going to ask if he's cutting out as much as.
Yeah. So I'm going to pass that over to Andy. Different question, I guess.
The question or my pick?
Let's get your pick.
All right, my pick. I'll start off with saying that Everton's only win in the last 5 matches is against who? West Ham. You guessed it. And the people who were instrumental in that game, Lukaku and Barkley. If Everton's to get anything out of this game, they need those two to step up. Will they? I don't think so. I think it's actually 3-0 Manchester United. If it's the same Man U team that comes out as it did against West Ham on Wednesday, it's going to be no contest at all. And it's really going to separate. It's going to send Everton down the table. Like I said, at the start of the season, that's how they got up so high. But they're going to fall pretty quickly. And Manchester United, they're going to start a push in the league, at least to the maybe top 5.
I think that's fair. I think that's a good assessment. I already gave my 3-1. Charlie, what do you think? What's the score here?
I'll take up that Ross Barkley overrated, because I think he is a little bit overrated, but I think in a different way. I think everyone looks at him like the sort of most incredible attacking midfielder that's ever happened, a bit like Wayne Rooney when he came in. Everyone's like, oh my God, but I don't think that's the case at all. I think.
Well, I mean, every now and then he shows like these little tiny flashes of brilliance, and you're like, yes, where's that guy been?
Yeah, that's totally fair, and I think maybe his true role maybe lies a little bit deeper. I think maybe instead of looking at him as a guy who just plays just behind Lukaku, just behind a striker, maybe he plays a little bit deeper, a bit like how some people, myself included, want to see Lanzini play a bit deeper. Maybe that's where his true potential will lie, and that his abilities will shine through if he plays there more often. But in this game, I'm going to maybe stupidly back Everton. I think this is the game they break their duck. And it's not just hate for Man U. This is the game when they break their duck. I think that I would say that they are going to win 2-0. 2-0. It just happened. 2-0.
2-0. Brian, I don't know. Are you? I edit this stuff, so it's cool. Are you back? Are you good?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't change anything. Be fine now. So yeah, on Ross Barkley, I just think that I think he's kind of gotten into the mindset where he made the first team and he's kind of just coasting along, and he's not giving his all in every game. And I think putting him on the bench is a good idea to kind of give him a wake up call and say, you need to give 100%. And I think maybe what they should have been doing, younger players, and kind of telling him like if you don't try your hardest, and this is what's going to replace you, and you're going to be watching the game from the sideline. He's overrated. I think he's great. He just has to try harder, and I think a lot of people fall into that trap.
I think you were cutting out earlier. I don't know if I got a score before.
Oh yeah, no. As far as the prediction goes for the game, I don't see Everton getting a win out of this one. I gotta go 2-0 to Man U. As much as I hate to say that Man U is gonna win.
We're all
yeah, I got 2-0
from their last game.
Yeah.
And speaking of their last game, we're going to use that to segue back to London Stadium.
All right.
West Ham and Arsenal. This is a pretty big one, I think, for both teams, and I don't really need to set it up too much, just because I think it kind of speaks for itself. I think Corzola is still out. I remember watching when they played Southampton on Wednesday, and I know they put out like the young kids or the younger squad or the sub squad, if you want to call it that. Even though they lost, they still didn't look bad, and that was far from their A team. But I am not an Arsenal expert, and I'm going to pass it on to my Arsenal expert friend here, Shorja. Give me a preview. What can we expect from West Ham Arsenal?
Well, okay, so I'm going to start with the Capital One Cup just because it's the most recent game, and I feel like that's just it's the most recent snapshot of how the team's doing. So that was not even our B team. That was like our C team. I don't know. Like if we played Jeff Rene Adelaide where, Theo is playing, or if we play Alex Iwobi. Alex Iwobi has actually got a good run in the first team, but we weren't feeling our best side. We were playing Kieran Gibbs. Kieran Gibbs was one of the most senior members in the squad, so that could, that just tells you. And then we had Emiliano Martinez in goal. I'm going to disagree with you. I think they did look better in the second half, but the first half they came out and they just didn't look like they were trying to win. They didn't look great going forward. Iwobi tried to do too much, in my opinion. I think he's been watching too many.
I think he looked good, to be honest. I like the way he was, because it seemed like nobody else was trying to create chances, and he was like, well, if nobody else is going to do it, I'm going to try to do something.
Yeah, I was just about to say, I think he's been watching too many videos of Alexis, and whenever Alexis tries to do that, he doesn't play his best. Like whenever, sometimes it works out, but most of the time it doesn't. Because soccer's a team sport. The only few people who can do it all by themselves. Well, there's not that many people who can do it all by themselves. But yeah, I really don't think we went into the Capital One Cup thinking like we didn't really want to win this game, because I think Wenger was smart in knowing that this advancing in this cup, which is the smaller of the two cups, considering that the FA Cup is coming up in a month. I think that he didn't want that January window to be too congested, so maybe he put this team together, put this lineup out, and he was like, all right, if we win, we win, but if we don't, then it's not the end of the world. Going back to our win over Bournemouth last weekend, we played well later on, but we, as I said earlier when we were previewing the Bournemouth Liverpool game, we were dominated for a good part of that game. Alexis looks great though. Giroud coming on, he's like the super sub of dreams at this point. Came on, assist right away. I'm a big fan. I have his jersey.
It's amazing that he's content being the super sub. I feel like if I were Giroud, I'd be like, I want to start all the time.
I know, he's too handsome not to start, right?
Unbelievable. He's way bigger than I always think he is. Every time I see him, I'm like, geez, he's a big man.
He's 6'4" and like close to 200 pounds. He's great. Very good looking man. But I just think that he's got a good he's got a good attitude. I stalk the Arsenal channel, and I stalk like every video of every player, and I think just he seems happy. He's just working hard. He's keeping his head down, working hard. That's what happened last year, when they were starting Walcott over him at center forward. He came on, smashed in a couple of substitute goals, and then Theo Walcott's form kind of fell off, and he regained his place. And even though he did go through like a huge slump, like a 16-game slump at the end of the season, I don't know. I really like him. I think his best quality apart from his headers, is his hold up play. Plays really well. He links everyone together at the top. He pardon me, West Ham fans, but I think he's just a better version of Andy Carroll.
I don't think West Ham fans would disagree with you.
Oh, you don't think so? Okay, well,
maybe Charlie would a little bit.
So yeah, I think we come into this game. Obviously, I like I said, like I'm an Arsenal fan first. I've always been an Arsenal fan. So I only don't root for West Ham in 2 games all season, and this is one of them. So I think our chances are, meaning Arsenal, are good coming in this match, even though it's at the London Stadium. There's a lot of problems with the stadium itself, or there were a lot of problems. I don't know if they've been resolved. But it's not much of a home advantage. I think the away section will be bustling. I think we'll have really good away support. Not much of a journey, so that also factors into the players being tired and whatnot. I don't know. Yeah, I think 2-0 Arsenal.
Brian, send it off to you.
Well, I think it's going to be a closer game than a lot of people expect. I mean, I'm just looking at recent results from both sides. I think we can totally take the Football League Cup out of the equation in the midweek because both teams lost disappointingly. And I think, obviously, Arsenal playing Jenkinson and what's-his-face in goal. I don't think we expect to do much. And we lost to Southampton, and West Ham lost to United pretty bad. But the same United team not the same United team, but Man United, who they drew last weekend 1-1. I think they played very well in that game, and I think they shouldn't be disheartened about the League Cup. And I think Carroll possibly is he coming back into the side? I haven't heard anything recently.
Are you talking about Andy Carroll?
Andy Carroll?
Yeah,
he could be back this Saturday.
Okay. I think even if he's not playing on the field, I think him being back gives a boost to morale, maybe. And I think it's going to be a pretty close game. I think Pyatt always threatens. And West Ham that tied Man United 1-1, playing the Arsenal who tied Man United 1-1. I think we realize. That being said, Giroud, like Short just said, is playing extremely well recently. I reckon he'll get a goal this weekend. I wouldn't put it past him. Also, I think West Ham have some injury woes that could cause some trouble in the defense. So.
Yeah, I think we have more players injured than healthy.
Yeah, really. So I think it's going to be a close game. I think there are going to be a couple goals this game. And I'm going to say 3-2 to Arsenal.
Well, that sounds like it would be an ideal situation, at least going towards the end of the game for West Ham fans. I like that score. I think absolutely Wenger waved the white flag going into the cup match on Wednesday against Southampton. They put out a pretty strong team, and Wenger was like, "I'm not doing that." This is I think a pretty pivotal game for. I don't want to say pivotal for Arsenal. It's definitely a more important game for West Ham, and because it's such a statement game for them coming off of. I'll chalk it up an embarrassing loss. It was embarrassing. It was embarrassing for fans. I think it was embarrassing for the players. You could see it on their faces. You could see it in the way they were standing, shoulders hunched. They just didn't want to be there anymore. Especially after that third goal, it was just awful. And then that fourth goal, they looked completely dejected. Did anybody see Zaza switch jerseys with Ibrahimovic?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the closest he's going to get to a goal, Ibrahimovic's jersey.
Did anybody else wonder why that happened? Like, it's the craziest thing.
Given his form, he's probably never going to get that close to swapping shirts with Ibrahimovic ever again. So,
it gotta go for it.
Yeah.
You just need another sweat rag.
He took like 2 shots. If you want to count that header, it's 3, but he took 2 shots. They were awful. They weren't even close. They were
one
like
of them
this way.
went out for a throw.
Yeah. One went out for a throw-in. How do you miss it that badly? And chalk it up to not playing time or whatever. But Fletcher looked good in the first half. He didn't look so good in the second. But he tried. And God bless his little trying heart. So I desperately want to root for West Ham. I want them to turn it around. I want them to take that loss, learn from it, and apply it going into the next game. I just don't know if they have it in them. And for that kind of analysis, I turn to my man Charlie, who probably knows the psyche of this team more than anyone here. Do they have it in them to come back from whatever the hell you want to call what that was on Wednesday?
The simple answer is who knows. Like, 1 week we can be great, the next week we can be pointless. You know, we turn up at the London Stadium, we blew Chelsea away. Like, that game was insane. We absolutely dominated the team who were on this incredible run, but we beat them 2-1, and yet then we rolled up to Old Trafford at the weekend midweek and got absolutely destroyed from whistle to whistle. It was a massive embarrassment for everyone involved. I want to pick up very briefly on two things that our Arsenal friends mentioned. One, let's not diss Carl Jenkinson. Carl Jenkinson is a good lad. I'm in love with him.
But he's a great guy.
I want him at West Ham at all times. Even if he's not playing, I don't care. I just want him about. Maybe put him in Herbie Hammer's head. I don't care. Just have him about. I want Carl Jenkinson as the mascot, even if he's not playing. And two,
I'm sure he's a nice guy. Sure.
He's a great guy. No. If you watch his YouTube videos, he's awesome. I'd love to have him as a friend. I just don't want him playing.
And two, Giroud wishes he was Andy Carroll, mate. Andy Carroll is no. I don't care what anyone says. Andy Carroll is the best player probably in Europe in the air. No one is better than him. You put in a ball, Andy Carroll will head it into the net. Giroud is incredible. Now, if Arsenal didn't want him, I would be gobbling him up all day. You can take that however you want. I love him. I think he's fantastic. I genuinely do. Giroud is an incredible player. But Andy Carroll is better than him. Right, now I've got those 2 points that way.
Can I ask you a question?
Feel free.
Yeah, why do you think Liverpool sold Andy Carroll if they had the best header in Europe?
I think he needed a change. Being serious for a moment, I think he needed like a change in scenery. That sometimes when you move to a club, it just doesn't work for whatever reason. Like maybe you don't fit the style, maybe you don't fit in the culture. There could be a million reasons. He was getting injuries a lot. He wasn't really getting in the team. When he played well, but it was just one of those situations where I felt like for him it was best to get away. It's a little bit how I'm starting to feel with people like Zaza. Like I like Zaza and I want him to succeed. I really, really do. But I'm starting to look at it and thinking, mate, just leave. Not because you're a bad player, but just because I think you need a new change of surroundings, a new start. Because otherwise you just get into this rut, this horrendous rut. And I think he was that. However, still the best player in the air in Europe. Anyway. Yeah, I don't think there's any way we can beat Arsenal this weekend. I want to believe there is, but I just don't think there is.
You're not going to pick against them, are you?
Well, we'll see in a minute. I haven't decided yet. In my head, I'm still sort of 50-50ing it. I think we got absolutely annihilated at Old Trafford, completely and utterly humiliated. If we roll up with the same high line this weekend we did against United, Arsenal will obliterate us. They will wipe us off the park. It won't even be a contest. Our line has been consistently way too high for most matches, but Jesus Christ, at the week it was Zlatan Ibrahimovic was like rolling past me. It was just an embarrassment. It really was. I don't want to say this. I'm gonna be the pessimistic hammer, seeing as Tom's not here. That's the excuse I'm using. I'm gonna say Arsenal 3, West Ham 1. I don't see it. I really. What? I think we'll get a goal. I want it to be Ashley Fletcher because Ashley Fletcher is one of our own. He is a Bay, but I can't see anything else at this point. We are bad.
It was actually one of Manchester's own.
No, he's one of our own. Like Harry Kane's one of your own. We have one of our own in Ashley Fletcher. Okay. Yeah. If you can break the rules, so can we.
What? Harry Kane was there's one picture of him in an Arsenal shirt, and that's all I hear about.
It's not just an Arsenal shirt. He's got hair dyed redder than Freddie Ljungberg's for a start. Let's not start.
He was ginger as a baby. Everybody knows this. He was the anointed one, and the prophecy spoke of a baby with ginger hair who would bring Tottenham out of the darkness, and or something. I don't know. I'm making this up. Andy, what do you got, buddy?
This is obviously a huge match for West Ham. Right now, 16th place. We're only 3 points off of Swansea. I don't think we're going to dip below Swansea just because I don't see Swansea getting a result against Tottenham this weekend. It could be trouble.
I knew I liked you, Andy.
What's up?
I knew I liked you. Come on.
Oh, yeah. But, we could be in danger of dropping closer to the relegation zone. Depends on Palace and Hull City, but I really don't think we stand a chance. 2-0 Arsenal for me. I'm not really sure the extent of Cresswell and Antonio's injuries, but it would be pretty awful for the defense if they're out. Masuaku's back, which, you know, he does offer cover for Cresswell, but what do we do about the right back? Or that kind of right wing back we've been playing? Honestly, I would take Carl Jenkinson all day long for that position. He had a rough last season, last year with West Ham, but the season before he showed so much promise, and I think he has a lot more to show than maybe Arsenal fans want to give him. Again, I think I saw somewhere that Arsene Wenger said we wouldn't have scored against Southampton in 2 hours, and I don't think they're going to run into that trouble against West Ham. Last weekend against Virgil van Dijk, Ryan Bertrand, Southampton put out a really strong lineup, and our defense, the back three, just looked kind of inept. All there. Winston Reid, I don't know if he's totally a good fit for a 3 defensive back formation. I'd love to be able to play 4 in the back. Sadly, we just don't have a right back to play it. I didn't like Payet's motivation, I guess I'll call it, on Wednesday. I don't know if anyone saw his reaction. He passed a horrible pass, and Andrew Herrera picked it off, and he basically just stood rooted to the spot as Anthony Martial put in. I think that was the 3rd goal.
That was the one where Rooney prematurely put his hands up his.
Yeah. Rooney celebrated before, and it was everyone knew it was going in, even Payet, and he didn't even attempt to get the ball back. It was just the motivation wasn't there, and then I don't think the motivation's in the team to even get close to a result at the London Stadium this weekend.
Andy, I was hoping you would be the beacon of hope. You're forcing me to be this sole beacon, and I don't like that because
I can't argue one thing that I think West Ham, if Andy Carroll truly is healthy, we could always go Big Sam tactics, absolutely park the bus, and kick it forward for Andy Carroll.
Lob balls in.
We've seen it before. 0-0 at Chelsea when we gave up. I think it was like 25 shots to Chelsea with Big Sam. We can get a result. You know, I don't think we can do it. I'm
going to be the beacon of hope. Are you ready? Are you ready for this? All right, here we go. I'm going to beacon it up. So let's pretend the cup never happened. I'm going to pretend I'm Bilic and I'm talking to these guys and be like, forget the cup. You know, that wasn't in the cards. Whatever, not a big deal. Let's focus on the table. We got a result at Old Trafford that nobody thought we would get. I
did.
Yeah, sure, Jeff. One person thought you would get. Okay, and Charlie too. Some people, I mean, not here, but in general, pundits alike, nobody really saw that coming. But I was thinking when I was looking at their schedule, right? I mean, Man U, Arsenal, Liverpool. I told myself if they can get just 1 point, just one out of those 3 matches, if they can get one result, because remember how poorly they were playing before going into Old Trafford, where they kind of built up our spirits a little bit. They can just get 1 point out of those 3 games. It would be okay, because afterwards we're playing Burnley, Hull, we're playing Swansea, and those are all super winnable games. So I would absolutely plea for a draw. I think it could be. I don't think it's out of the cards. And since I have to be the beacon for this, I'm going to go ahead and say it's going to be a draw. We're getting a result. I think it's going to be 2-2. And I think it's I actually think, here's my real prediction. I think West Ham's going to go up early and then blow it. But I think it'll be a draw. I think it'll be 2-2.
I think it speaks to how bad the situation is. Sorry, go on. You lot first.
Oh, no. Okay. Well, I was just going to say, I had totally forgotten that Antonio was also out injured. So I think that even if Andy Carroll does come on, I think it's going to be too little too late. So I could see the opposite happening. I can see Arsenal going up early, 3-0. Maybe West Ham getting a goal back through Andy Carroll. But, yeah.
Isn't Arsenal who's like, at least from the games I've seen, they've kind of started slow and then worked their way into the game. And on the other side of things, I've seen West Ham start really, really fast and then lose it, which is the only reason I feel like West Ham could come out front early and then like be supremely.
The games are Arsenal playing Man United and Tottenham, but we saw what happened against Sunderland. Who knows if it's going to happen again? You know.
Yeah. Talk about starting slow. We didn't have a shot on target in 89 minutes. God.
Jonathan, I want to know who you think is going to score this weekend to make it 2-2 for West Ham.
Actually, yeah, I'm curious too.
Who do I think is going to score?
Yeah, for the Hammers.
I'm going to go with Fletcher with 1.
One of
And
I think Lanzini.
Sure. I think Lanzini has to come up huge this week if West Ham really gets anything. I don't like Payet's attitude right now. But little Lanzini. Yeah, little Lanzini should come up big.
I think Lanzini is I think Lanzini is kind of taken over Payet's role in to a lesser extent than last year. But yeah,
can you imagine if those two players got on the same page?
I know,
Lanzini,
right?
Payet.
I mean, not even that, but they have very talented people in the team. Simone Zaza, whatever you say about him, and like taking away that penalty from from the Euros, which I still smirk about. He's a pretty good player, you know. Like he's not as bad as people make him out to be. And Andy Carroll being back would be huge for you guys because I don't know if anyone else remembers, but he scored 3 against us back in April.
Oh,
I remember. I remember very well.
It was a 3-0 game.
Yeah, it was. We went up 2-0, and then West Ham scored twice before the halftime whistle, and it was level at halftime. Like, and then like maybe like 3 minutes in, Andy Carroll with another header, and then 3-2 West Ham, and then we pulled it out somehow. So it was kind of flipped last year. And then let's not even talk about the first day of the season last year because, like, I don't know, West Ham just kind of have it over us. And even when we were up 2-0, I was like, all right, maybe we have West Ham finally because, you know, being up 2-0, but then we just sort of collapsed. If anything, I think if West Ham are going to score this weekend, I think it's going to be a Lanzini penalty because our defense has been kind of shaky and they've been giving up penalties left and right the past few weeks.
I could see.
What I was going to say, what Georgia just picked up on was the fact that, was the fact that Bilic just seems to have it in, just seems to have it over Arsene Wenger somehow. And I've already said my prediction. I don't think it's going to happen, but he seemed to do it with Besiktas. He seems to have done it with us. Like he just seems to know how to beat Arsenal. And talking about like players linking up, like you talk about Lanzini, Payet. Imagine if Lanzini, Payet, Andy Carroll, Andre Ayew. Imagine if all these players actually got on the same page.
Imagine if the players started playing like they should play. Unbelievable.
You know, imagine if they played football. It would be top quality. And the one last thing I would say that I forgot to say was, I've been someone who has said this several times, and I've always caught flack for it from friends and whatnot. But I want Havard Nordtveit to start. I want him to start at right back, and I really want him to put it to his former club. I want that to be the Fletcher moment, as it were. It won't happen, mind, but I just want to say it again, just so when it eventually happens, I'll look great.
I feel like if we didn't see him Wednesday, we're not going to see him, to be honest. I feel like that was like the ultimate spot for him to come in and make up for it. But Bilic sticking with his guns. Ryan, you had a last point. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to mention how Andy Carroll could possibly throw in a goal because even though Payet has been having some issues recently, he's not been as sharp as he was. I think any minute he could throw in a cross and find the head of Andy Carroll and put a goal in the back of the net from nothing. So I think that's always a worry, especially with Arsenal's defense having some trouble over the midweek, and they're checking out the lineup, obviously. But I don't know. I think it's always a threat, especially if Andy Carroll comes back.
I feel like it would be – I could see it happening only because it would be super, super West Ham poetic where – like Carroll comes back and he scores a header and everybody gets really excited, and then like the next week against Liverpool you lose 4-0. So I could kind of see that happening, but I don't know. I don't know if Andy's actually going to start. I think he might come in. I don't know if he'll start. He might. That's why Fletcher got the nod on Wednesday, but it should be interesting. It's going to be really hard to predict what lineup they put out, what formation they put out, and I don't like comparing things to the U.S. national team, but doesn't it kind of feel like that week to week? You're just like, who's going to be playing? Who's going to be starting? What formation? I don't even think the players really know, and I think that might be part of the problem. How many different positions did Antonio play in before this year so far? Right? Wasn't he? He was like a striker once. He played right wing. He was playing center mid. He was playing right back, and so who knows? Who knows? It's a dice roll.
I have one question for Charlie, if I may. Would you ever go so far as dropping Dimitri Payet?
Ooh.
I mean, I'd like to start that statement by saying he's better than Mesut Ozil, but we'll move on from that. Would I drop him? Yeah, I think I would. I think, it would depend. The problem is we've not got many left wingers at the club. We've got an abundance of right wingers, but left wingers are sort of absent. I think that if we had players who were fit in that position as well, yeah, I would drop him. I would drop him just to make a point and be like, look, dude, you're the best player at the club. You're Ballon d'Or nominated, but you're also dispensable. No player is bigger than the team. That's something not David Moyes. That's something that Alex Ferguson did time after time after time, proving that players aren't bigger than the team. And I think, yesterday stunk of yesterday. Oh, it's too soon in my mind. The Man United match stunk of a guy who was just didn't care. And in my opinion, if you don't care, that's fine. Just don't play. Just don't play. Go through whatever the hell you want. I don't particularly care. Like he's the best player at the club, but we have players who can drop into that position as long as they're fit. Then I would put Andre Ayew out there. Maybe even go with a diamond in the center and start with 2 up front. There's options around Dimitri Payet.
All right, I think on that, I think we're gonna close it out.
I just want to say one last thing.
Really?
Come on.
I'm sorry. Okay. I didn't want to say this, but based on how you guys said, I was too busy watching Arsenal Southampton and watching my team collapse to watch the West Ham game because I thought about switching over, but that wasn't going too well either. I was like, I don't want to depress myself anymore. But judging by what you guys are saying, it really seems like he's mentally checked out, and he's going to be actively looking for a move abroad come January. And I think it's good that Charlie, you have that Alex Ferguson mindset where, maybe he is like hurting the club more than he is helping them. But if he is that checked out, I think you kind of have to look at West Ham and kind of move on, and sort of like a life after Payet kind of thing. And I do think you guys still have the pieces, to play well. If Payet leaves, maybe who knows? Maybe you guys get better. Maybe players are more on the same page. You don't know what's going on in the locker room because it's really shocking. It's disheartening to see a team that played so well only add and then do worse than last year. So maybe Payet being this good, and I know he's kind of considered like a god in West London, or East London, sorry. But I don't know. Maybe he's asking for more money. Maybe that's the main problem between him and Bilic. So you never know with this thing.
I feel like the thing with like the Sir Alex comparison is that it's Sir Alex. Like he wasn't doing that from day one. He built up his reputation and was able to do that. Like I guarantee in the annals of his career in the first few years, he wasn't benching star players. And I feel like if Bilic was like, what, Payet, I don't think you're going to play this match because I don't really know about your attitude lately. Golden Sullivan would be like, oh, buddy, no, you're putting them in the game. This is what people are paying for. This is why we have season ticket holders, and this is what the ratings are looking for. So I don't even think it's an option for them to sit him. Even if it would be the quote-unquote right move. And you see that all over the league. It doesn't matter. Someone's a big name in any league. It doesn't even have to be football or soccer. If it's a big-name player, someone that has been signed for a lot of money, someone people come to see, they're going to be in it regardless of their attitude.
He does have form with it, though. He chucked Malfitano out. Malfitano was no by means a star player. I liked him a lot, but he was no means a star player. He lobbed him completely out of the club, not even out of the team. He got him. He was just like, cool, you're done. See you later. He benched Sakho when Sakho was having a hissy fit. He benched Alex Song. Alex Song disappeared last year, not because he was injured, because he had a falling out with Bilic. Bilic has got a track record of, like, if someone's having a fallout with him, he will just do it. And can you imagine how you look at the players who can't break into that team. You look at someone like an Edmilson Fernandez, or even some of the youth players, someone like Marcus Brown, someone like that. If Bilic goes,
I want to see more.
Exactly. Someone like Samuelson. If Bilic goes, oh, that's it, Payet, you're not living up to it right now. Go. And then he puts someone like Martin Samuelson in that team. Martin Samuelson all of a sudden is looking at the bench and going, I'm ahead of Payet. This is my chance to shine. And if he shines and stamps his mark on that, then he will be forever thing. And so, will Gold and Sullivan kick off? Yeah, maybe they might. But by the same token, if it's good for the team, then it's good for everyone involved in the club. So,
Charlie, I would put my 8-year-old on the line that Martin Samuelson never starts a game over Payet. Ever.
Well,
Ever. I don't see anybody in the world going, what?
Please don't put your 8-year-old on
No,
that.
I'm just kidding. Whatever. But I mean, can you see? I like Samuelson. I think he's okay. I don't think he's at anywhere near starting for a Premier League team. And we can get into that whole discussion as to why he left his loan club, but we won't because we're running short on time. But I will say it's I hope his attitude changes. I hope the whole team's attitude changes. I don't think anybody had a good game, and I think it was just infectious. And the good thing about a new weekend is it's a new weekend. You get to see something else. So that's it. Those are our final thoughts. I want to thank Brian from joining us from The Short Fuse. You can check him out at theshortfuse.com. And, of course, our guest speaker here, Andy, who writes for us at bracethehammer.com. So appreciate that as well for stepping in. Tom, we'll see you next week. Charlie, Georgia, as always, thank you very much. Like, subscribe, visit, comment, all that good stuff. You guys know the deal.
Fan post.
Fan post, yes. Let's see some fan posts. That would be great. And yeah, I look forward to beating all of you guys in the picks this week. So cheers. Have a great week. Come on, you Irons. All right, that's it.